Yeah. No, so let's see here. But those who trust in the Lord will find new
New
strength.
strength.
New
Emphasis on the
strength.
word.
Yeah, and it's also like when you hear soar, it's one where like I think of already high, but it says they will soar high on wings like eagles.
Yeah.
Like to me, just soaring, just hearing the word soar, I think of being already high, but it says soar high,
Yeah.
and then they will run and not grow weary. So it's one of those like we're kind of going full circle on all the things that we've already kind of talked about. And then they will walk.
Come back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that have shaped their journey, offering you daily reminders that wisdom can be found in the most unexpected places. Today's guest is Ryan Reichert, a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel who's walked through some of life's deepest valleys and highest peaks. After decades of service from small-town America to combat zones, he's discovered that his greatest calling isn't leading soldiers, it is helping others find hope in their darkest moments. Let's step into Ryan's story and hear the words that anchor him through it all. Tell us your name and what you do.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ryan T. Reichert. I'm an author, speaker, and podcaster from Minneapolis, Minnesota. In a previous life, I was in the U.S. Army for 23 years.
Whoa. What's your favorite quote?
Yeah, my favorite quote, I'll take it out of my book, God Only Knows When the Devil Comes for You, Second Chance at Life, out of chapter 1, One's Connection with God, but it is Isaiah 40, verse 31, and it's, but those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. Sums myself up over 46 years of existence on this great planet we call Earth.
Would you be kind to share with me some stories from your personal life that you think makes this quote resonate deeply with you?
Yeah, certainly. Coming out of my military career, I struggled with addiction from multiple different things. I had post-traumatic stress disorder from multiple deployments in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. And over, a lifetime, I started drinking when I was 12 years old. So unfortunately, that's like sixth grade here in the United States and far too young. And 33 years later, I went through some tough times in life and I sobered up, and through finding my faith, my spirituality, and God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit, I've been able to stay sober over 18 months now.
Congrats on
And
that.
thank you very much. And yeah, it takes a lot of work, right? Alcoholics Anonymous was a great program that allowed me to take certain steps every single day. And I have a 3-year-old golden doodle dog, a May, and she's helped me kind of, take those steps every day. She got me up out of bed when I'd have to walk her, and throughout the day, having to take her outside and feed her, and it kind of allowed me to continue to not get deep into my depression. And it's one where today I can only see the good in everything, and it's one where in a previous life, I'd call it my first chance at life. I think I played the victim mentality at times. I felt sorry for myself, when things would go bad. Maybe didn't, get a promotion in the military when I thought I was worthy of one, or get that assignment that you'd worked so hard for. And today, now I know it's the Lord's protection. If something doesn't happen, if you want it so bad, I'd say if it's a Ryanism, I think I should get something or I'm entitled to something. I know today if I don't get it, it's basically because the good Lord's protecting me from something, either my pride or my ego, or I'm not ready to hold on to such a blessing. Possibly, I haven't matured emotionally or spiritually quite yet. And so those are some of the things that I've learned over my second chance here at life after, finding sobriety and serenity and that peace that I was always looking for in life, but I couldn't obtain. And I didn't realize that it's in the surrender and just knowing that he has it all figured out for me. And I just need to follow him and get out of the way.
Yeah, I want us to step back to the quotes you shared earlier on at the beginning, which is from the book of Isaiah, right? Could you read it again? Could you just say it again? Because it's something I want to
Yeah,
highlight.
absolutely. But those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint.
What does it mean to trust in the Lord? I mean, we know the word trust, but what does it mean in this context?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for me, it's everything we do. Obviously, we want to be as kind and as gentle as we can be to another human being. I mean, here's a perfect example. how many miles away in Nigeria. I'm here in, Minnesota. Yeah, we've emailed back and forth, I guess, and we've set up this, but now today we're talking and, we're just two brothers from other mothers. And it's truly that understanding of, connection in this world and know that there's, what, 8 billion of us. And, if we can just like not push so hard and just trust, just know that everything that happens is for the best. So if we do like the next right best thing, whatever that looks like, if it's helping somebody who has a flat tire on the side of the road and you pull over and, or like, hey, can I help you? And, maybe they're like, no, I called AAA, hey, so here in the States, right? Like somebody comes out and I'll change your tire for you, you pay for a service, but you still had to stop and, like show that kindness that, you want to help someone else out. Or, maybe, someone doesn't have enough money to pay for their groceries at the grocery store or whatever it looks like, doing the next right best thing and just trusting that we can all give way together. I mean, for me, it's just different. I used to be very selfish. I'd work really hard and whatever money I made, like I'd keep it to myself. Like I wouldn't share it with anyone.
Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join, or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation.
And today I don't do that. I try to share as much as I possibly can because I've been blessed with enough, or more than others. And yeah, it's just one of those things where I trust him so much that I know that when something bad happens, it's not out of like to hurt me or punish me. There's a lesson in it and there's something better to come, after the fact. If you lose someone, it could be even, death or, like maybe you have friends that are no longer part of your life, right? You just don't hear from them anymore and you don't realize what happened. You want an answer, like why? Why did this happen? And you just need to trust that like it's meant to be that way. That's like the greatest outcome comes in your trust and your surrender and your growth.
Yeah, this is a what's the word in English? Is a word called abstract and concrete now, right? Trust is an abstract now.
Sure.
And it's one of
Yeah.
those things that people know what it means. Like, oh, I know what it means to trust people, but they don't really understand, right? You know how I'll give an example. You have a background in the military, right? Most of us that are civilians that have never been in the front line, we know, we watch movies, we know, oh, you shoot guns and bullets and all that, and you're like, yeah. I mean, the bullet's supposed to kill someone. We know those stuff, right? But it's different when you're on the front line and in the midst of the gunfire and everything, a bullet hits someone close to you, someone you were just laughing with last night, and now it's not just, oh, I know you. Of course, before that time you knew that bullet kills people, like that stuff. But now it's an understanding. It's a knowing, right? The same thing with trust. Like in Sunday school, they used to teach us that, yeah, when you trust in the Lord, He'll be there for you and everything. And there was a particular time they shared the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And there was something that they said that we will stand for the Lord. I'm just paraphrasing here. And if He saves us, nice. If He doesn't save us, so be it. For me, I always had a problem with that last part. I was like, if He save us, He save us. But like, why do you have to add so be it? So it's and later on, I as I go further, I realize that sometimes, we try to use our own logic, our own understanding to judge the actions and the happenings in our life and then relate it to God. But trusting in the Lord is, I trust in the Lord not because I want Him to, because usually people say I trust in Him because I know that if I say I trust in Him, then He's going to do what He said He's going to do. But it's like I trust in Him because I just trust in Him, like that, like I trust in Him. And if this happens to go this way or this way, like it doesn't really matter. My trust is not dependent on what the circumstances, right? It is not depending on the results I'm getting. Like we've had couples who have been marrying for years, right? And when you look at it, you're like, oh, for 10 years, they've been marrying. that circumstance doesn't make sense that they should trust in the Lord, right? But then you see some that are like, yeah,
Yeah.
we trust the Lord. If God is God that gives child, if He gives us children, great. If He doesn't, so be it. And it's no longer a thing of, oh, because usually people are like, I've been trusting in the Lord, and the Lord has been kind. Of course, the Lord is always kind, so it doesn't depend on second. Because sometimes certain things happen to us, quote unquote. I'm like, oh, the Lord is not kind and stuff like that. He's always kind. He is kindness, right? So kindness is not an attribute. He's kindness. But when we look at it and we're like, oh, you had a good job, you had money, you had everything and all that. But in the case of Job, even when those things happened, wasn't God kind? He was still kind, right? And I know it's not exactly so easy to say, because in that circumstance, in that situation, logic is not exactly, what's the word? People, we just can't wrap our head around. And sometimes we shouldn't try to wrap our head around it. We just say, yeah, he's God. If he's, because that's a level of trust.
I think we get wrapped up in our timing too, right? Like, we want everything like right now, like let's snap our fingers and we get it. And it's you have to put the work in. Like you have to, well, here's a good example. Like this that I'm wearing, and didn't even think about this.
Yeah.
So Wear Blue Run to Remember
Okay.
is a group that, well, now has turned into, I mean, unbelievable, massive scale of folks, but it came from tragedy. One of my great friends in the military was killed in Afghanistan in 2009.
Oh, so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and his wife Lisa and the ladies, of the unit started running around the airfield like on Saturday mornings, right? Just to get their minds probably away from what had happened, but also to remember, just what their husbands served for and sacrificed and so forth. And now today they support marathons all over the United States. I'm sure around the world even that I don't know of because I don't follow them as closely as I once did before. But what's this amazing Wear Blue mile that, they have flags with pictures of, soldiers that have been, killed in the global war on terror and so forth. And you just think about in that tragic situation, coming up 16 years ago, something now today is what people look for hope. They see that, there's this group and this unity with everything. So to me, it is always like when something terrible happens, there's goodness that can come from it. And, that's where, just like you said, that kindness, that peace, that joy, that love that he has for all his children, is one where it's not meant to harm us. It's for us to grow stronger, through those tragedies in life. And, really understand that, just like, the quote says in it, soar high on wings like eagles. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be times where you're not soaring. You might be the eagle hopping on the ground because your wings aren't working quite yet again. So that's part of it. And just know that if we're, obedient in our, time, we never lose that hope. That trust is always there, even though it's like you can't touch it, feel it, smell it, whatever it may be. It's just having that understanding, just like you said, where you can't rationalize it because like it's not human,
Yeah.
the
Yeah. I
so
think the issue is we use the metric, the kind of trust we have for humans, for the trust we have for God. And it's for example, if if we're friends and we're close, right, and you're really really kind to me, and all of a reason for I don't know whatever reason you might have, I show up and you're like and I'm like, please, could you help me with? I'm in kind of like financial toss right now. Could you help me with some money? And you're the one you give me money. Like that's not really a problem. You have the money. I know. It's not like you don't have the money. I know, like, right? And then you like, yeah, not really. And
yeah.
I'm like, no, because right now my brain cannot reconcile that. You like, how? Why won't he? He doesn't like me anymore. He hates me. Why won't he give me money? And I look at when that's why I really love to like being around kids because they remind me of the example Jesus gave when he said be like these children. If you're teaching a child, let's say maths, right, very young child, how to like solve maths, do arithmetic and all that, and let's say you're teaching them addition or multiplication and you already know that 2 plus 4 is equals to 6, but right now as you're teaching them, they in Nigeria, there's this process where we list number of sticks and then they try to count the number of sticks to get to help them like know, okay, 2 plus 4 is equals to 6 eventually, right? And they're going through series of process. Sometimes it takes them 10 minutes to eventually get the answer to, and 2 plus 4, 6. But you're teaching them, you already know the answer. Why not just tell them that, I mean, it's 6, so that you just write the answers in the homework book and then they submit it, and we can all go our separate ways. But we spend 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. They cry, they shout. Sometimes they tell you that you're not my daddy anymore. And like, or if you are the uncle, like, I hate you. You're no longer my uncle. You're my least favorite uncle. Don't be my friend anymore. And I remember when I used to teach at Homelands, I used to teach those kids, like, I'll tell my mommy not to let you come here tomorrow. And I'm like, don't worry, you tell your mommy, you can tell your mommy, but for now, let's deal with this issue on ground. And eventually when they figure it out, they're like, they are so happy. Like, I know 2 plus 4 is 6. And when I look at that, and I'm like, sometimes he has all the answers. He has it all. Like, he could do the snap of fingers and everything would be there, but he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I call it always like, the long way is the shortcut. We can't take shortcuts to get anything. Like if it sounds too good to be true, like it isn't true. Like getting back to the trust factor, right? And so I think it's just like anything else. There's no way to. You just have to put the work in always. Anything and everything you do. Like if you want to be in shape, like getting back to running marathons, like you can't run a marathon. You run 1 mile, you can't run 26.2. Like you have to put the work in. Just like learning math, you have to do the problems and build that muscle memory in here or find a way. I mean, yeah, we have calculate. Well, shoot, now we have our phones that has everything in
Yeah.
there. I mean, so I think that's to me where, you really take a look at, how do we do whatever we want to be. Like if you want to be smarter, like read more books, because if someone writes a book, they probably read 50 books, 100 books, 200 books to write their one book. And so it's like, there you go. Like you're reading 200 books by reading somebody's book.
Yeah.
And you're also the life lessons in that. So, I mean, I was a terrible example of that. Like I never read unless I absolutely had to. Just like you're saying, give me the answer. Give me the answer. Plus 2 is 6. But don't
Uh,
show me how to get to 6. Just tell me how to get to 6.
yeah. Yeah.
And that's to me now, today, I know that, if I want to, be smarter, know more. I mean, every day I read the Bible and, every day I read somebody else's book because they put the time in to do it. And, you know, then therefore you can have those eagle's wings again to soar high.
Yeah.
It's just,
One
it's
one of
part of
one
it.
of the things I just want to highlight is the fact that in that quote, right, a lot of persons, they trust in the Lord, and then they try to jump the next step and move on to soaring like eagles and running and walking. They don't, because they say trust in the Lord and what's the word? You get strength, something like that. It's like, help me out here.
Yeah. No, so let's see here. But those who trust in the Lord will find new
New
strength.
strength.
New
Emphasis on the
strength.
word.
Yeah, and it's also like when you hear soar, it's one where, like I think of already high, but it says they will soar high on wings like eagles.
Yeah.
Like to me, just soaring, just hearing the word soar, I think of being already high, but it says soar high,
Yeah.
and then they will run and not grow weary. So it's one of those, like we're kind of going full circle on all the things that we've already kind of talked about. And then they will walk and not faint,
Yeah.
because that's the thing. Like you can run and okay, we don't grow weary, but you can walk and not faint. I mean, we're going back through the same
Yeah.
things, like just continue to do the work, take the steps necessary. I call it failing forward now. I started a new business back in December. The military's got great strategy, operation manuals, how to do everything, left, right, and center. And, but for me as an entrepreneur, like, I mean, there's books out there. I've been reading books on, like entrepreneurship for dummies and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But every day is a fail forward. You learn, like, it's like I know how to do math, but like, in today's world with bookkeeping and credit cards and transfers and wires and all these, there's so many different things that you need to, learn possibly, or, pay to have an expert do it for you because like, you don't trust your own self, right? Like, it's not in your wheelhouse. And, yeah, I just call it fail forward today. Like, it's like, okay, I know I'm going to mess something up, but I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to grow weary. I'm just going to keep putting the work in every single day. The next thing you know, you'll be soaring high. So
Yeah.
that's good.
And when you look at it, I think there's this quote from this guy, Alex Omozi, that other than death, all failure is psychological. And when you look at it, it's not really like if you start a business and you blow out all the money, I mean, most people would say it's failure. It's not. I mean, you learn how not to run a business, and then you
Yeah.
can move forward. So it's not because most of the time it's like I failed.
You only fail when you stop. That's failing to me. Like when you completely quit, you just say I'm done, and that's stopping. That's yeah. I think about like back in the day, and the the creed, like though I be the lone survivor, is one of those where you just I mean you fight to the end, to the bitter end. You just don't give up, and so therefore you're never technically failing.
Yeah,
So when I say fail forward, it just means like when you have a misstep, two steps forward, one step back, you're still always going
yeah,
forward. It's no, if you take one step forward, only take a half a step back, kind of thing. And just always keep moving forward.
yeah,
And that's my biggest one. I mean, I think that's where I take so much away from that verse from Isaiah is just because it's not every part about it speaks of a way that you just aren't quitting and you're already like at somewhere where you walk, you don't grow weary. Well, okay, great. Like, and you're soaring, but you're gonna soar
yeah,
high. Like so. It's to me just it's a play on words, but at the same time, it continues to show that no matter what, through trust, and it's just like even trust in another human being. It's like I think with money, we get so stuck on it. Going back to your thought on that, like asking for money. That's like the one area where everyone, like I can come over and I'll help you work on the yard.
yeah.
Like let's fix your car, and then but the first time someone's like, hey, can you borrow me like I don't know
No.
$100 or something, and we're like, yeah, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? And I agree. And it's really interesting how because time should be our most precious asset to me, the way I look at it, because we can't get any more of that.
Yeah,
Um, we can always find a way to get more money, some way, shape, or form. And yeah, just very interesting, I guess, all the way around that you brought that up earlier.
yeah. Thank you so much, Ryan, for sharing with me your favorite quotes and helping me make sense of it.
Yeah, I appreciate the time. It's been a blessed time. I know you're on the other side of the world. And just thank you so much for being able to be a part of your
My
platform and
pleasure.
continue to have great dialogue.
What do you do, and where can people learn more about you and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. You can get me on any of the social medias. It's either Ryan T. Reichert or Army RT 1978. Either way, you'll find me. You can also check me out on ourprotectordevelopment.com. A little bit more about the business and how we consult with C suites and other companies out there for leadership development. And then also, first book, hot off the shelf, 3 June. God only knows when the devil comes for you, a second chance at life, and it's got a lot of great tools for everybody out there. As you want to, live your life one day at a time, but also if you're looking for, maybe starting over after something's happened in your life, that second chance that you're looking for. It's a great one for you. So yeah, but greatly appreciated. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. You've been listening to Relatable Wisdom, and I've been your host, Wisdom Okonkwo. You've been listening to the podcast where every story, quote, and insight helps you see life a little differently. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show on your favorite podcast app and share it with someone who loved the conversation. For more inspiring voices and timeless wisdom, visit relatablewisdom.com. Until next time, keep living, learning, and collecting wisdom that matters most to you.